Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex P. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Saturday, November the 4th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith. It is a loaded Saturday card, 15 games in NHL action. And normally on these Saturdays, we know we're going to go at least an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. Take our time, really break these down. Unfortunately, I don't have the luxury of time today. We're on a time crunch today. So this is going to be the most rapid of rapid fire Saturday shows that you will ever see. We're going to go bing, bang, boom as quickly as we can through these 15 games. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. We will begin with the Nashville Predators taking on the Edmonton Oilers. This is the first of 2 day games on this slate. We've got Edmonton minus 180, home favorites, 6.5 the total, 190 actually in some spots here with the Oilers, who we are still waiting on them to get rolling this season. They have just been 1 step forward and 2 steps back, doing the old Paula Abdul here to begin the season right now. But definitely it's been frustrating. They have the win in the Heritage Classic against Calgary, and they follow that up with a setback against the Dallas Stars. And Dallas is a really good team, but the fact Dallas was playing back-to-back, you thought maybe the Oilers could take advantage of that. They couldn't. Now they're playing a Nashville team that, look, it's not your dad's Nashville Predators team right now. They're giving up more goals. This road trip's been a struggle for them in the first 2 games, losing to Vancouver and Seattle, giving up 9 goals in those 2 games combined right now for the Nashville team. So they are struggling at the defensive end right now. We don't have goalies confirmed yet, but I would suspect we're going to see Skinner versus Saros here in this game. These teams already played, of course, earlier this year as well, and we saw, obviously, the Oilers do significant damage to Nashville. Oilers have really owned this series. They've really had a degree of dominance here over this Nashville Predators team. Campbell's actually projected, but not confirmed here in between the pipes for the Edmonton. I'm on a bunch of bets here in this game, but the side and total, I'm on Edmonton team total over 3.5 minus 130. I think it's a relatively good price. You get Edmonton at home, off a loss, and just asking them to score goals. And how many times have we said it? Edmonton shows up, they usually score 4 goals. I mean, better to bet that than minus 190. On the money line is taking their team total over 3.5 minus 130. Split it up with the over. This is a series history bet. Over Palooza with Predators versus Oilers. If you look at the recent series meetings. So a little split there between Oilers team total over 3.5 and the full game over 6.5. People are onto it in the chat. Alex already brought it up to me before the show. Leon Draisaitl owns the Nashville Predators. I mean, the numbers are just dominant for him against this team. So whether it's him to score a goal, him to get 2 or more goals, plus 500, you can even sprinkle on the hat trick, which is upwards of plus 2,500, at some spots, over 1.5 points at even money. Anything Leon Draisaitl today in this game makes a lot of sense. He has just completely done significant offensive damage game in and game out versus the Nashville Predators, and this goes back many years. What do you think here, Alex? Nashville, Edmonton.
So, yeah, definitely everybody kind of reading the same script there with Draisaitl. I took a shot with him to get 2 goals, plus 500, but I'm also liking that over 1.5 points at even money. I'll be on that as well. But the biggest play I like as far as this game goes is the first period over at 2. You can grab that still at plus 105 or plus 110. We've seen this catch 8 of the last 10 meetings, and even you look at just the last 4 straight, we've seen high scoring affairs. So definitely no worry about getting goals early. And this is one you don't want to wait for and try and grab at a better price. Just go on and grab the 2, grab the plus money, and just hope the goals pour in like they have in last several meetings between these 2 teams.
Yeah, I'm taking the Oiler team total, Noel. I know I lost a game. Think about it, though. Dallas has a better defensive team. Dallas is just a better team than Nashville. Dallas has better goaltending than Nashville. And Edmonton still scored 3, and they were knocking on the door of a 4th and tying that game. But there was some chances that went awry. But I think they've got the opportunity. And if you look at series history, like I said, Edmonton has scored goals in bunches against this Nashville Predators team. In the majority of recent, they've had a couple home games against Nashville the last couple of years where they put 6 and 7 goals on the board. against Nashville. So I do like that team total here today, 3.5. If they like lose 3-1 or something today, 4-1, and they look bad, then it's time to just pump the brakes on Edmonton. So I'm giving them a shot here today. Show me what you can do, because there's no excuse. There should be effort. There should be intensity. There should be focus coming off the loss against Dallas, and we'll see if that is the case today against the Nashville Predators. All right, Winnipeg, Arizona. We've got Winnipeg minus 130. Road favorites, 6.5 the total. I actually don't have anything here, at least not as of right now. Don't want to go against Arizona at home. I think they play well there. And we saw it, obviously, the last game against Montreal. Very tough spot. I got to give the Arizona Coyotes all kinds of credit. That was a barn burner against Anaheim. And they have to come back home, play Montreal 24 hours later, and they found a way to grind out a victory. Was it pretty? No. Was it a Picasso, a Rembrandt, aesthetically pleasing? No. But they found a way to get the job done in that game in a really tricky spot. Winnipeg slumping here now the last few games. They've stumbled a little bit here, trying to get back on track. They have faced a pretty tough schedule of opponents, but still, nevertheless, not playing their best hockey right now. I think that's fair to say with this Winnipeg Jets team. You look at this matchup here, though, against Arizona. It looks like Hellebuck and Vejmelka is apparently going to be the goaltending battle here in this game. So we'll see how that transpires. But right now in this game, maybe a slight lean to the draw. I could only look at Arizona. But the one thing about Winnipeg is they have done a very good job head-to-head against the Arizona Coyotes. They have really owned this series in recent meetings. The Jets have done very well against Arizona. So for that reason, I've stayed off. Only leans to Arizona and perhaps the draw. I could see a competitive, close game here. What do you think, Alex, with Jets Coyotes?
Yeah, I'm on the draw here. I got plus 333 yesterday at Caesars. You look at the last 4 meetings, all decided by 1 goal, all close games, with 2 of them going past regulation. So I kept it simple and went with the draw here.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Lawson Crow, I'll throw out a prop in this game. Lawson Krause for Arizona. Since he's moved up to the second line, I think he's gotten on the score sheet every game. And so he's been definitely noticeable. I think of all the props now for Arizona, he's the one that's a little lying under the radar right now with some good value. All right, the rest of the games are at night. Boston and Detroit. The Bruins minus 140 road favorites, 6 the total in this game. I'm drinking the Jimmy Murphy Kool-Aid on this one. I listened to what he said yesterday. It makes a lot of sense to me. I think this is a live home underdog in this game with the Detroit Red Wings. You look at the last 2 times here that Boston's gone to the Motor City, and we've seen Detroit beat them twice in a row. The last 2 times Boston's been here. And think about this spot for the Bruins. They're still banged up on the blue line. Credit to them for fighting through it against Toronto and still winning in a shootout, but you're still without McAvoy. You're still without Grzelcyk, Forbert, and credit to Ian Mitchell and Parker Witherspoon and Mason Lohrei. Mason Lohrei. Credit to them. Played well against Toronto, but now you got to go on the road and do that. And think about the schedule. Boston already beat this Detroit team last week at TD Garden. Then they played the 2 games against opponents in the division that they have a significant history with. Obviously, Florida, the team that knocked them out in the playoffs early in the week, and then Toronto, which is a rivalry, tons of history there. They get 2 wins in those games, and then you're coming back now to Detroit, and this is where you see little exhale from Boston, and maybe they don't bring that same level here in this game. I worry about that for the Boston Bruins in this spot. So I like Detroit here. Now, Detroit's leveling off. Detroit's regressing. Detroit's slumping after that red-hot start a bit, but they've played Boston well here at the Pizza Box, Little Caesars Arena. I like this price, and I like this spot here with the Detroit Red Wings, plus 120. Alex, Bruins, Red Wings.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I grabbed Red Wings plus 125 yesterday, and it's kind of the spot too. The fact that they've been regressing a little bit. This is definitely a show up spot here tonight at home, Saturday night against the division rival, a team you've played well. Detroit should come out and come out firing here in this game. So I like them at still plus price plus 1. I would play it all the way down to plus 105, plus 110. But cause I definitely think we see this number probably move before puck drop.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Good prop game. Zaka is on fire for the Bruins. Keep going with him. I would say, the Lindholm and the and Mason Lohrei got a point in the game the other night. And Jimmy Murphy says look for assist props at the very least with Lohrei from the blue line. So keep that keep that in mind. It might be a good look there. As far as Detroit, they haven't been scoring as much lately. But the one that's noticeable with the value right now for them, other than Veleno, we've talked about it nauseum, although he's cooled off a bit, is Daniel Sprong. He has scored, I believe, 2 of the last 4 games. And you can get upwards of plus 450 for him to score a goal tonight. So there's one lying in the weeds there if you're looking at some value as far as goal props is concerned for the Detroit side tonight. All right, Tampa Bay and Ottawa. By the way, I do want to mention the goaltending. Husso for Detroit, probably all mark for Boston, but it hasn't been confirmed as of yet. Lightning Senators, Ottawa, minus 120 home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. This one's tricky for me because Ottawa is not going to lose forever, okay? I know they're in a bad way right now. They're very banged up on the blue line. That definitely is a problem when you're looking to back a team. When you got cluster injuries on defense, that's going to really hamper and impede your ability to win hockey games. And when you have no Brandstrom, no Zub, no Shabbat, and they're all right-shot defensemen as well for this team. So it becomes real tricky. I mean, they got to make do with Jacob Bernard Docker, Tyler Clevin, Nick Mantanpalo, right now on the blue line. So it's just tough sledding right now for Ottawa on the back end at the moment. And you can tell it's affecting their ability to win hockey games right now. When you've got that much detrimental absences on the blue line, you're going to obviously have a tougher time winning games. We'll see if they can bounce back. They've slipped down to below 500, 4-5 on the season. That being said, you want to back Tampa Bay and their winless road record, 0-4. On the season on the road. Tampa Bay hasn't won on the road. So this is a pretty sharp home road dichotomy we've seen early in the season for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They actually have a very good home record, 4-2. They haven't lost in regulation time at home, but on the road, winless on the season. And of course, we saw them lose to Columbus 4-2, the first game of this road trip on Thursday night. Prior to that, remember, they started the season after the season opener, which was at home against Nashville. They went on the road for 3 games, including 1 game against this Ottawa team. They played Detroit, Ottawa, Buffalo. They lost all 3 games. So this is a winless road team right now for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I actually like this spot for Ottawa. I think they dig down. They find a way. I don't love it. Maybe we'll sprinkle a couple bucks on it, but small lean here to the Ottawa Senators, minus 120. And this is another over for me that is all series history. Look at the recent meetings here, 5-2, 7-4, 7-4, 4-3, 5-2. Every single one of the last 5 meetings between these teams has hit at least 7 goals. So hard to argue with maybe looking for goals tonight, especially with a banged up, depleted, shorthanded, short-staffed Ottawa blue line tonight. What do you think here, Alex? Tampa Bay, Ottawa.
Yeah, if I had to play a side right now, it'd be Ottawa or nothing. But I'm going to be waiting for a live line. You mentioned definitely high scoring affair between these two teams often. So we're waiting for that 5.5 to pop up around the $1.20 or better.
All right, looking at this as a live opportunity, Alex, in this one here, Lightning and Senators. It looks like we will have Korpisalo Johansson, your goaltending matchup here in this game, although no confirmation as of yet with that. All right, Kings and Flyers. We've got the LA Kings. Oh, by the way, props. Jacob Chychrun has actually supplanted Jake Sanderson for me as far as blue line props for Ottawa. He has really been producing, shooting the puck, playing as much, if not more, than Sanderson right now. Jacob Chychrun, man, over shots on goal, points, assist, or goal assist prop. I think they're all power play point. They're probably all worth a look. I'll go back to the well with the 2 players I keep on mentioning for Tampa Bay, Barre Boulet, Nick Paul. And Nick Paul against the Ottawa Senators, his former team as well. So why not with those 2 guys again? Run it back with those 2 Lightning props. All right, Kings and Flyers. We've got LA minus 185 road favorites, 6.5 being the total here in this game. I think when you look at this matchup here, as far as the Kings and the Flyers, Kings are not the team I'm going against on the road. Period. Right now, this has been a road warrior this year. This LA Kings team, they've played excellent hockey away from Crypto Arena, 5-0 on the road. Already wins on this road trip against the Leafs and Senators to get it going. Now they take on a Philly team, and they have the rest advantage in this game as well. Kings playing Thursday in Ottawa. Flyers second half of a back-to-back after being in Buffalo last night and dismantling really the Buffalo Sabres. Very impressive bounce-back result for Philadelphia after they did not play well. They actually played okay against Buffalo on Wednesday, but they lost because they couldn't capitalize on their chances. They got some early goals last night, and that made life easier on Sam Harrison, who, by the way, credit to him, he's really struggled this year. He stepped up in a big way for Philadelphia last night. By far his best game in net for the Philadelphia Flyers this season. They got timely goals in that win against Buffalo last night. But now you're on a back-to-back situation. We'll see if you're able to handle it. What's very interesting, a great storyline to make sure you keep an eye on this leading up to puck drop tonight. We know that Carter Hart is out, and we know that Sam Ersson is the primary backup goaltender to Carter Hart now with Hart injured. But they needed to call someone else up from the minors, from the AHL, because Hart is not apparently not going to return just yet. We're looking at more so a week or 2 weeks possibly that he's out, as opposed to just a couple of days. So Hart is still not available from what I can see for this game. You played Sam Ersson last night against Buffalo. So who is called up right now to be that second goalie to help out Sam Ersson? Well, wouldn't you know it, Cal Peterson. Remember him? Yeah, part of that trade last year with the Kings, former LA King. Basically just, they punted on him. They just flat out got rid of him. You know, they said, you know what, because he had a terrible start to the year last year. Remember, that's when the Kings really had a tough start. The goaltending was a problem. Cal Peterson was a part of it. He was not playing well. The Kings just outright said, you know what, that's it. We're going to move on from you. Dealt him to the Flyers. And now all of a sudden, here he is in Philly, and he's got a chance maybe tonight, assuming what Torts is going to do what I think he's going to do, and that's start Cal Peterson here on the back-to-back. He's got a chance to play his former team. You don't think he'll be fired up? Team gave up on him last year. No question about that. Now, is he good enough to play well? You could ask. It's a totally different, entirely different question. But that is something to keep in mind. There is no goalie like a goalie scorned. And he got scorned by the LA Kings. Now, he didn't play well. It's not like they had no business doing that, but it's just amazing that they invested the future a little bit in Peterson, and just right away, a little struggle there, a couple months of bad play, and all of a sudden you're out. So I can understand why he'd be upset. I can understand why he'd be a little pissed off at the LA Kings, and why if he starts tonight for Philadelphia, he's going to want to prove a point. So I'm sprinkling on the draw tonight here with the Kings and the Flyers at a very big plot. I don't have the guts to take Philly, especially with LA undefeated on the road. But I think this is going to be a cagey game. I actually think the under might be a good look tonight because LA's starting to revert to that, let's play a little tighter on the road. They were not happy with the amount of goals they were giving up early in the season. They've gotten back to a little bit better defensive play on this road trip against Toronto and Ottawa. I could see this being an under. I could see Peterson stepping up, maybe playing well tonight. And I could see this maybe having a chance to go to overtime. And at the plus 390 price that you can get with the draw here at FanDuel, why not? I think it has a chance maybe to. And by the way, I also went back and looked. I think the last two times LA played in Philadelphia, we saw the game go to overtime. So that's another thing that factored into my decision. So draw plus 390 here for me. Alex, what do you think here? Kings and Flyers.
Yeah, that's a good look, and that's something I might actually tail as well. But like I said, definitely want to keep an eye and see if they could run Ersson back, but the chances are, like I said, Cal Peterson going against his old team, and as we mentioned, this is, I think, a great trade. I think he needed that change of scenery. He wasn't going to get the looks in LA, and once he did, he just didn't perform to expectation. But I think now, like I said, there's no pressure on him, in Philly. Carter Hart's the guy. No one's expecting him to take over the reins. I think that maybe we could see some better play from him. So, yeah, if he's in net, I'm more than likely going to be looking at probably adding some under as well, maybe even in game. Maybe hope for a goal early, kind of do the reverse of what we're normally looking for. Hope for a goal in the first couple of minutes and then grab 7.5 adjusted, drop down maybe, late $1.20 or even $1.30. But definitely going to sprinkle with that draw at plus 390.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It's funny. The other draw I was thinking about, actually, I think there is another. Did I bet another draw later in the card? I think I actually do have one more draw. Yeah, I do. But the only other one I was thinking earlier was the one Alex actually did recommend and bet himself, which was Winnipeg and Arizona. But this one I thought was great value, man. Plus 390. Kings went to OT last two visits to Philadelphia. And given the Peterson angle, potentially against his old team tonight. So, and Philly's going to want to keep this tight to the vest game as well. So I could see definitely maybe overtime potential here in Philadelphia tonight. All right, Buffalo and Toronto next up. We've got the Leafs minus 220 home favorites, 6.5 being the total here in this game. Should be an interesting matchup here. Sabres and Leafs, good rivalry between these two teams. We have another situation where one team does have a rest advantage, that being Toronto. They played Thursday against Boston. Buffalo's coming in on the back-to-back after a 5-1 loss to the Philadelphia Flyers. You pretty much knew right away it was not going to be Buffalo's night. They had as bad a start as you could ask for, just haphazard with the puck, turning it over, just too loose in coverage in their own zone. And they got better as the game went on, but by the time they got their game at 3-0 Philadelphia, Ersson was comfortable. He was playing well, and they just couldn't solve him. And that was basically the end of that. The one thing you always get from the Buffalo Sabres usually is a great effort when they play the Toronto Maple Leafs. No question about that. You actually look at series history. Buffalo has the winning record in recent head-to-head meetings against Toronto, going 5-3 in the last 8 meetings against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So this has always been one of those games where Buffalo really shows up, really wants to play well. I did grab a little Buffalo. This is always the price. This is where I want Buffalo. I want them on the road when they take a little step up in class as a big dog. And I find in these spots, they've been good. Last year, I remember they went on that road trip and they were just picking off these really good teams last year in these kind of spots. So I think after a bad game last night, does the back-to-back worry me? Leafs are rested? Yeah, of course. But Buffalo always plays Toronto tough. 5-3 the last 8 head-to-heads for the Sabres. This is another one I've got to look over, even with Joe Wall in net, because, again, series history is pretty stark here. Last 5 meetings, or last really 9 meetings, 5-3, 5-2, 5-4, 5-1, 5-2, 5-2, 5-2, 6-3, 4-3. That's 7 goals or more in practically every meeting of the last 9 between the Buffalo Sabres and the Toronto Maple Leafs. So at 6.5, it's over for me. What do you think here, Alex? Sabres, Leafs.
Yeah, I would sprinkle toward the over. As far as side goes, like I said, Buffalo plays them tight, but I'm just not trusting the form of the Sabres right now. I certainly can't look at anything Leafs at this big of a price. So it's going to be a pass on the side, like just a little bit of lean on the total.
Yeah, this is one I very, very, I consider the draw as well, but not a lot of draw history between these two teams. There's been a lot of close games. None of them have gone to overtime, though. It's pretty crazy that there's been a lot of competitive games, yet not a one overtime game in recent memory between the Sabres and the Leafs. I'd run back Brandon Biro. I'd run back JJ Peterka, some of these Sabres props I mentioned yesterday for them in this game. Toronto, Nylander Matthews and Marner finally got going for them in the game the other night against Boston, even though they fell short. We'll see if they can keep that rolling here tonight, but definitely Morgan Riley, I still think, one of these nights when I finally say, you know what, I don't bet it, he's going to probably end up scoring a goal, but he does get a lot of power play minutes and opportunities. So maybe you look in that direction for him one more time as far as props go for the Leafs tonight. All right, next up, we've got Montreal and St. Louis. Blues minus 120, home favorite, 6.5 the total here in this game. And I told you yesterday about that New Jersey St. Louis game, even though I only bet the over because I was riding that streak with New Jersey. And I said, but I'm worried about this one because St. Louis is a dead nuts under team right now. And they absolutely showed it. There's just not a lot of offense there, although they did win last night, credit to them. But they can at times be solid defensively as well. And we saw that last night in the victory against the New Jersey Devils. But they have been a massive under team. And, 4 straight, 5 of the last 6 Blues games have gone under. So that is definitely something I noticed. Montreal, meanwhile, the road trip continues for them. Really, really tough luck for them on the first 2 games. They outplayed the Vegas Golden Knights, I thought, but lost in a shootout 3-2. And pretty much an even game with Arizona the other night, and they fell just short 3-2 last Thursday night against Arizona. I think this is the time now for Montreal. They catch St. Louis. I know it's a no-travel back-to-back because they played at home last night against New Jersey, but still, I think with Montreal, this is an opportunity for them to take a step up. Let's be real. St. Louis they're not even Arizona, let alone Vegas. Okay, so this is a little bit of a step down in competition, if you will, for the Montreal Canadiens. And they have won 3 straight, by the way, head-to-head against St. Louis, including 7-4 last year in St. Louis. And that was when the Blues were starting to fall apart and they were starting to sell and trade deadline came around and the rebuild began and Montreal just put the boots to this St. Louis. I don't know if they'll put the boots to them tonight, but I think it's a good spot for them to bounce back at their first win on this road trip. So plus 100, I like the Habs here in this game. Alex, Canadiens and Blues.
Yeah, I like the Habs here too in this spot. And it's funny, I was actually kind of hoping that we maybe see Jake Allen possibly getting the start here against his old team with St. Louis. But even with Montembeault, I'm obviously even more inclined to back Montreal here. But I think that just would have been a good start to give him some confidence and maybe playing against his old team, kind of build some momentum. But Montembeault's fine, and even money here, even with a big card, I'll take a shot here with the Habs.
They're interchangeable, those two guys. No question about that. Both Montembeault and Allen. I mean, they both go through ups and downs, winning streaks, losing streaks. There's no question about that. But when you look at it here, both of them are capable of playing well. You're right. I would have liked the Allen angle. That would have been good against his former team. That always gets a goaltender probably in the mindset to, hey, we really want to play well tonight and do a nice job against our former team. But you may not get that tonight. So keep an eye. I don't think we've seen a confirmation either way at the moment here. Oh, it is Montembeault confirmed.
Yeah,
so there you go. Yeah, it is official. Montembeault is in. So that's all right. No big deal. He's definitely capable of playing well. As far as props go for this game, I would really stick to Kapanen on St. Louis, Robert Thomas, guys like that. And then for Montreal, there is going to be some shuffling, I believe, with their lines tonight. Keep that in mind. It looks like Caulfield, Suzuki, and Christian Dvorak on the top line. Christian Dvorak, someone that obviously returning to the lineup for the Montreal Canadiens. He has yet to play a game this season for them, and going from off the injured list to the top line tonight for the Montreal Canadiens. So you know what that means. VALUE as far as his player props tonight. Christian Dvorak for sure. So might be worth a look. All right, Columbus and Washington. We've got Washington minus 145, home favorites, 6.5 being the total here in this game between these two teams. Should be an interesting matchup here. I think when you look at the Jackets and the Capitals, Washington's been a lot more up and down lately. There's no question about that. We thought maybe they were starting to get things together, a little win streak, and then right back down to earth. They get blanked by the New York Islanders 3-0 on Thursday night. And on the flip side now, you've got Columbus coming off a nice win against Tampa Bay at home that snapped a 4-game losing streak. They definitely needed that. They get the 4-2 win against the Tampa Bay Lightning. We'll see if they can keep it going here on the road against Washington. Look at series history here. Washington's had the better of it for sure, to the tune of 7-2 in the last 9 meetings. Even last year, with Washington starting to, decline, as an organization right now, Washington still had the better of it. They won 3 of the 4 meetings last year, head to head against the Columbus Blue Jackets. This is another one where, I can't always pinpoint why, but goals have been there with these two teams. 5-1 to the over in the last 6 meetings between the Blue Jackets and the Capitals. We have a Elvis Merzlikins versus Charlie Lindgren goaltending battle here in this game tonight. Lindgren in instead of Darcy Kemper, who is not injured. It's just a situation where they're going to give Kemper a night off and give Charlie Lindgren a start here. And I think the betting markets are reacting accordingly, because I just realized, Alex, when I bet this, it was over 6 minus 120. All the sixes are gone. It's 6.5 now, pretty much everywhere here in this game now. So I still like it 6.5. I got over 6 minus 120, but clearly there's some reaction to maybe not just series history, but Charlie Lindgren sighting for Washington in that. So I agree, though, over series history. You got Washington's backup goalie Lindgren in net. Columbus finally got some offense the other night against Tampa Bay, I think, and Washington should be able to score at home against Columbus, who are not a shutdown team by any stretch of the imagination. So I still like over, even with the move to 6.5. What do you think here? Blue Jackets, Capitals.
Yeah, this is not one I'll probably look to grab over in game. So if I can grab a 6 at plus money, 5.5, laying a price, that's what I'll be looking for here. But like I said, the only thing I'll be looking at is over. I don't want anything to do with the side with either one of these teams.
Now, obviously, the props went to the wayside with Washington last game because they got shut out. But if you're going to look at props, look at Milano, look at Strome, look at Wilson. Those are really the 3 guys that have been good lately for the Capitals. For Columbus, we've talked about how Roslovic's been good. Keep an eye on Marchenko. Marchenko got scratched by Pascal Vincent, got back in the lineup the other night, and he scored for Columbus. So maybe a wake-up call. Maybe you ride Kirill Marchenko right now for Columbus. The wake-up call, getting benched He'll be playing with Fantilli and Dmitry Voronkov on that second line tonight for the Blue Jackets. So maybe Marchenko got the wake-up call he needed with that benching, and he was certainly better the other night in the win against Tampa Bay. All right, we've got Carolina and the New York Islanders. Carolina minus 130, road favorites. The total 5.5 here in this game. This is actually playoff redemption, playoff revenge, playoff rematch. But I'll tell you what, I am at the point now where I think this angle is. I don't want to say it's overplayed. It's yesterday's news, but the playoff revenge angles have not been turning out all that well this year. If you've been just blindly backing the team that's facing an opponent for the first time since they got knocked out by that opponent in the playoffs the previous year, it's not gone well. So I think if you're going to use that angle here for the Islanders, I'd be careful. I actually like Carolina here. It's not a big wager for me personally, but I did take a little minus 128 with Carolina. It's up to minus 130 in some spots, but Hurricanes off a loss to the Rangers. I like this team usually off a loss, and I think you're going to see that here. And are we really going to just, do cartwheels for the New York Islanders shutting out Washington the other night? Overly, not really. I mean, Washington's just not very good this year. We'll see how they fare against a team that's a better team coming off a loss here. I know the Islanders, in theory, they should be excited for this game, getting to play the team that knocked them out last year in the first round. But no, to me, this is Carolina. This is a cheap price with the better team and the better team coming off a loss, which should mean that they're focused and show that urgency tonight. So Hurricanes for me at the reasonable minus 130 price. Alex, what do you think here? Hurricanes, Islanders.
Yeah, it's a pass for me. I was leaning toward the draw, but this is such a big card, so I'm passing on this game.
Yeah, no, nothing wrong with that. There is one player I want to mention for the Islanders. He's got all the talent, skill in the world. He actually does have a lot of skill and talent. He hasn't clicked, though, offensively with this team yet, and that was Simon Holmstrom. And we finally saw something from him last game against Washington. So I don't know if that's just a blip on the radar, if he can bring that, continue to bring this as a level of consistency to the rink night in and night out. But no doubt we saw something solid from him as far as offensive production the other night in the win against Washington. We'll see if he can make that a habit, not just a one-off situation. All right, we roll along here. Good pace we got going. New York Rangers and Minnesota Wild. We've got Minnesota now about a minus 115 slight home favorite in this game. The total right now, it was 6. It actually was 5.5, 6, and now it's 6 shaded to the over here. So we've seen some over money come in here on this Rangers and Wild win. And I'll tell you why the over money's coming in, and the Minnesota money. People see that Jonathan Quick is starting tonight for the for the New York Rangers. They see that Jonathan Quick is starting for the Rangers tonight, and people just assume that, hey, he's not what he used to be. He's vulnerable now at this part of his career. He's going to give up goals. They can't win with Jonathan Quick. Well, I remember Jonathan Quick, his last start he had with the Rangers, he got a shutout. So, and this Rangers team is playing very good team hockey right now. Their power play has been excellent. They've been getting timely goals from multiple players in that lineup. Their defensive game has been good. I mean, you're talking about, an 8-2 team that still found a way to win in a brutal spot, quite honestly. A perfect road trip, come home against Carolina. We were all worried for the Rangers in that spot, and they still found a way to win that game against Carolina. I'm not going against the Rangers at this price. I don't care if it's me in net. Well, maybe then I would, but you get my point. I mean, I'm not going against the Rangers at this price, minus 105. They played excellent hockey. Their team game is the antithesis of what we're seeing from Minnesota, right now. And I don't mind that Jonathan Quick is in net. Jonathan Quick was good the last time we saw him in net. So I did grab Rangers here at this price. I just don't really think that this is as big a deal as we think. I mean, he's 2-0 with a .41 goals against and .982 save percentage in 2 starts and 3 appearances this year for the New York Rangers. So this Jonathan Quick, can't get it done, narrative needs to pump the brakes for a little bit, because he's played very well here in the first month of the season for the New York Rangers. So I can only look Rangers here at now. I'm even seeing plus 102 at Bet Online. So plus money now is starting to show up with the New York Rangers. Dean Evason's doing the lineup in a blender thing, trying to shake up this team somehow. It looks like Marco Rossi was skating on the top line with Kaprizov. If that's going to be the top line tonight, it's long overdue. I still think his props are worth a look. Rossi has been one of the better forwards for the Minnesota Wild, no question about that. So I'll probably have a Rossi prop, but I do like the Rangers here, minus 105 in this game. I just think it's the betting markets overreacting a little bit to the absence of Igor Shesterkin, especially considering that Jonathan Quick has been very good here the first month of the season. By the way, this has been another series where it's hard to explain why, but been a lot of goals. 4 of the last 5 between the Rangers and Wild have gone over. Last 3 meetings, 5-2, and then 2 last year were 7-3 and 4-3. So a lot of goals with Rangers and Wild. So I could make a case for the over as well. What do you think here, Alex? Rangers, Wild?
Yeah, a lot of goals, but a lot of goals early. 11-4 to the first period over, including 5 straight. This is a great price and a great number here, 1.5. I laid $1.25. You can still find $1.25 or $1.30 out there. So we're going with that first period over. Love that spot.
All right, there you go. Goals in these games, especially in the first period of these games for the Rangers and the Wild in recent meetings. So Alex liking the first period over. And again, pretty good price with that, considering that you've got a 6 with just a little bit of juice. And that means you're going to get better prices with the first period overs as well. All right, we've got Alex's Blackhawks next up on the docket. Chicago finally returns home. It feels like they haven't played any home games this year. They've only played 2. Can you believe it? It's November 4th. They've played 2 home games this year, the Chicago Blackhawks. This will be their 3rd as they host the Florida Panthers. Florida minus 200 road favorite, 6.5 the total. This is my game where I don't have a whole lot on it. I ain't laying this ever with the Florida Panthers on the road. I don't care who they're playing. But you know, they bounced back pretty nicely from that tough loss to Boston, where they actually could have beat the Bruins. They were up 2-0. So they've actually played all right on this road trip. Could have beat Boston. You could argue they should have beat Boston because they had a lead. They couldn't hold it. But then they bounced back and they shut out the Detroit Red Wings, a very impressive road win right after that. But I ain't laying this price with them. But I don't want Chicago either off a road trip. You know, they're struggling right now mightily. There's no question about that. It seems that, you know what, the worst fears about Chicago right now are coming to fruition. It's like if Bedard doesn't score, nobody scores for this hockey team. And we're starting to kind of see that here in a couple of these games recently for Chicago. So the offense is hard to come by right now. I could see actually playing under, but I'm passing on this one. I could even see Florida being flat, maybe a sprinkle on the draw. But again, Chicago's form's really tough to get behind right now. And credit to Alex, who said, don't buy in yet to Arvid Soderblom. And it was Soderbum in that game against Arizona. I mean, he was just absolutely lit up in that hockey game. Peter Mrazek, by the way, already confirmed as the starter tonight for the Blackhawks. What do you think here, Alex? Florida, Chicago.
Yeah, there's nothing to value here in this one. So I'm just going to be a fan and root for the Hawks. Hope they get a win here tonight. So it's a pass.
There you go. I think that's a wise choice there. And again, no confirmation yet. It's not a back-to-back, I believe, for Florida. No, it's not. There's only 2 games tomorrow, and they aren't one of the 2. They aren't one of the 4 teams playing. So you would expect goalie Bob in net, but again, that hasn't been confirmed as of yet. As far as props go, like I say, if you want anyone on Chicago, take Bedard right now, because I keep thinking Kurashev on that top line can eventually get going. That guy's an enigma, man, though. It's really, really tough. I mean, I feel he's got so much more capability in him, but just hasn't been able to show that constantly, repeatedly for them. I mentioned, too, Anton Lundell was moving up to the second line for Florida last game, which means he had some prop value. He scored a goal. Now, it was an empty net goal, but he still found the back of the net for Florida in that game. So maybe you go back to the well with Anton Lundell, who's been a little bit mispriced because now he's on the second line for the Panthers. All right, next up, we've got Pittsburgh and San Jose. And what kind of response do we get from the San Jose Sharks after one of the most embarrassing losses you'll see in a regular season hockey game? I guess we will find out tonight, but it is Pittsburgh minus 240, road favorites, 6.5 being the total here in this game. It should be fascinating to see the kind of response we get from the San Jose Sharks. This game, you know, I spent way too much on the time on this game in my handicapping of this Saturday card overnight. Way too much. And to only end up with an opinion where I'm probably staying off the side, staying off the total in this game. And I've been anti-Sharks. I've been fading this San Jose team almost every game, whether it's first period puck lines, full game puck lines, the team total for the opponent. We have been going in so many different directions against San Jose. And this is a bad hockey team, maybe historically bad. Make no mistake about it. But if there's any shred of pride and dignity inside that Sharks dressing room, they play with their hair on fire tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. They play with their balls to the wall. They want to run every Penguin through the boards. You got to show some level of emotional response following a game like that. You have to. And maybe you're just so bad. The talent is so weak on this team. Your defense and your goaltending are so bad in particular, you can't overcome it. But I have to see effort. I have to see some serious effort, some serious intensity. That is something that we certainly didn't see once that game got away quickly against Vancouver the other night. That is what you have to see from San Jose. So I would say if you're going to have any interest betting this game, do a live betting situation. Let's see how they start. Do they look engaged? Do they look like a team that's absolutely pissed off, thoroughly disgusted with the way they played on Thursday night at home against the Vancouver Canucks? And if they do come out with that level of urgency and focus and intensity, maybe then that gives you a hint that maybe San Jose can at least compete in that game and maybe have a chance to win their first game. I don't know, but that wouldn't shock me. But what also wouldn't shock me? 6-1 Pittsburgh tonight. That wouldn't shock me either. But I don't love the Penguins. I don't trust the Penguins. I don't love this Penguins team. I've said that over and over again. You aren't going to catch me laying minus 240 with them in this spot. I'm not even in love with the usual Shark fade with them tonight, with Pittsburgh first period puck line and full game puck line and Pittsburgh team total. I'm not even in love with all those bets tonight because I think this team has flaws. They've got serious defensive flaws right now. And look, even their power play with all that offensive weaponry that's on it. Crosby, Gensel, Malkin, Riley Smith, Brian Rust, Carlson on the back end. That power play has been a little bit underwhelming here for the Pittsburgh Penguins as well. But so this is a game I talked myself in circles and taught myself out of it as far as side and total are concerned. That being said, the obvious prop player to target tonight is Erik Karlsson. It goes without saying. He wanted out of San Jose. They knew they were rebuilding. It's playing his old team now. He did score the other night against Anaheim, I believe. It was the Anaheim game. He got a goal for the Penguins in that game. And by the way, not only is San Jose atrocious defensively, but they've really given up a lot of shots to defensemen this year as well. So over 2.5 shots on goal for Karlsson's only minus 110. I think that is a bargain to go over 2.5 shots on Erik Karlsson. Goal prop is upwards of plus 400. The assist prop is only minus 120, and I think power play point is plus 160. Anything and everything Erik Karlsson, I think, tonight makes a lot of sense to me as he plays his former team, the San Jose Sharks, tonight in this game. Alex, what do you think here? Fascinating one. Believe it or not, we're saying that about a San Jose Sharks game, but to me, this is legitimately fascinating here. Pittsburgh, San Jose.
Yeah, you made that game way more interesting than I could possibly ever fathom in my eyes. This game, I won't be watching it. I more than likely won't be betting it, but you make a great case for looking at some of those Pittsburgh defensemen potentially for, like I said, that shots on goal for Karlsson. Even though I haven't been betting shots on goal for the reason of how they're counting them, that one might be worth taking a shot on because I think he should be able to get well past 2.5, and that's a decent number. So maybe look at him, maybe look at Letang to get something on the power play. Other than that, there's nothing else that I would be even garnering attention to. It's interesting that the draw here, looking at BetMGM, only plus 360. So that kind of tells you a lot with, some people kind of being cautious to maybe, like I said, maybe this is San Jose's first win. Who knows? But I certainly wouldn't be backing any money on San Jose in any form or on their side. So.
No, I'm pumping the brakes for one night on fading San Jose blindly. It's been nice. We've won a lot. That Vancouver game was a thing of beauty. Alex even jumped on the Express. He had the first period puck line with the Canucks the other night. But let's be real. Who's a better hockey team right now, Vancouver or Pittsburgh? Who? I think we know the answer to that. And we'll get to Vancouver in just a minute. You talk about a game that I'll love in the late night hours. That's a Dallas-Vancouver, man. That is going to be something very interesting tonight. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, to me, and you're only laying a slightly bigger price with Pittsburgh. You're actually laying a bigger price with Pittsburgh than you did with Vancouver the other night. So that's another reason. Like from a value standpoint, I don't see value here on Pittsburgh either. And if there's one night San Jose, as bad as they are going to bring it, it's tonight. Will it be enough, though? Because there is a talent deficiency, as we know. All right, Calgary, Seattle. We've got Seattle minus 120, home favorite, 6 the total in this game. I'm on the crackheads here, Seattle minus 120. I mean, I don't want to say I've lost hope on the Calgary Flames, but it's dire right now. I mean, you got players now that were negotiating for potential contract extensions beyond this year that are now saying, nope, shut her down. We're not keeping these discussions going as the losses continue to mount for this Calgary Flames team. Continue to get nothing from Huberdeau and Kadri. I thought for sure those two guys were going to bounce back, and we just haven't seen that from them. You know what's funny? Markstrom hasn't played that bad for the Flames, but unfortunately, the offense is in a bad way once again. Even with the coaching change to Ryan Huska, this now 6 straight losses for the Calgary Flames. Now they got to go on the road, face a Seattle team that is slowly but surely, I think, starting to play some better hockey. You look at the last 7 games, they're 4-3, and the losses were all winnable games for them, especially the last 2. They lost in overtime to Carolina and a 1-goal loss to Florida on that road trip. So, you know, to be honest with you, this price to me could have been a little higher on the Seattle side. To only get minus 120 on them, I think good price against a struggling team and a banged up team as well. Let's not forget that. They've gotten Zadorov out on the blue line day-to-day. Ruzicka's a big loss because he's one of the few guys that was producing for them. Dylan Dubé also day-to-day right now with the Calgary Flames. But just to me, it's just hard to trust this team to win games right now. For me, it'll be Seattle minus 120 here in this one. Alex, what do you think here, Calgary, Seattle?
Yeah, I like this first period over. You can play it now minus $1.25 if that's available. Otherwise, if you're seeing a little higher, you can wait in game 3 or 4 minutes and grab this at plus money. So that I probably will do a half on the spot now and then wait in game just in case, just give myself a little insurance and then try to go another half unit on that at plus money. But I like goals here early. So you can also take a look at both teams to score first period as well.
Yeah, I could see that in this game too. And you know what? The over is a lean for me. I do think we did see an over with Calgary. At some point, they're going to start scoring a little bit more, but I think it might come at the expense of their defensive game. We kind of saw that against Dallas. They finally had a little more flow offensively, but they still lost. And the goals, you know, they couldn't keep the puck on. And they were really running around. Like their defensive zone coverage at times was atrocious against the Dallas Stars the other night in that loss to Big D. So that's concerning as well. So I would probably lean a little bit to the over, but I like Seattle even more than that at minus 120 here in this game. Even though I like Seattle and I like Cartier, by the way, again, with the top line and Bjorkstrand's starting to heat up and he's a streaky player. So I like those props for the Kraken. I'm going to come back and take a shot again with the guy that got his first goal on his first shot the other night, though, for Calgary, because he's on the second line, Connor Zary, I should say. He was very good that night and got his first goal, and you're still getting over plus 400 for him to find the back of the net. All right, next up, we've got Dallas and Vancouver. Dallas minus 125, road favorites, 6 being the total here in this game. I'm on the Canucks, man, and I never thought I would be on Vancouver against Dallas, but I just got that sense here. Vancouver really wants to put their mettle to the test against a team of this magnitude, one of the better teams in the West. And for Dallas here, this is the end of this Western Canadian swing, which has already been a very satisfying trip for them with the wins in Alberta, you know, against Edmonton and Calgary. We'll see if they've got still enough left in their tank before they head home. They play Boston, by the way, Monday night at home following this game. So that's a big-time matchup for them. Not that Vancouver isn't, but, you know, you already got your 2 wins in Alberta, and it's not going to be an easy opponent the way the Canucks are playing right now against this Dallas team. And you know what's funny is Vancouver's actually done very well against Dallas head-to-head. 6 straight meetings they've won, 6-0 Vancouver in the last 6 head-to-head meetings against Dallas, including 3 straight here in Vancouver. You know, even the bad Vancouver team last year And the Vancouver teams under Boudreau there a couple of years ago beat Dallas 6-2 at home. So, the Canucks have done a very nice job against this Dallas Stars team, and this is the best Canucks team of the bunch right now. What a start, 7-2-1. Terrific job by Rick Tocchet and this coaching staff. Even Mike Yeo, even him, will give him a little bit of credit somehow. We're going to give more credit to Gonchar and Foote. I'm sure they're doing more of the heavy lifting.
Right, definitely.
Mike Yeo, on this coaching staff right now. But nevertheless, what a job. Quinn Hughes is right now my pick for Norris right now. He has to be. He's been absolutely ridiculously good. I mean, the point production, yes, but I think his defensive game has just come so far, and he's just so much better now in his own end right now for this Vancouver Canucks team. And you even see, Tyler Myers hasn't been nearly as bad. He's still the weak link, but, Ronnick's been a nice addition from Detroit. Philip Ronnick, Ian Cole, and Carson Soucy are good, stable, veteran blue liners. So they've done a nice job with insulating and improving this blue line. Patrick Alvin, the GM, deserves credit for that. And then up front, it's really been impressive. Kuzmenko, Pedersen, Miller, Besser. It's not delivery, it's Di Giuseppe. Ilya Mikheyev has been a gem since they put him on the top line after he returned from injury. Beauvillier was the one guy that was kind of slumping, and he busts out against San Jose. Everyone that was slumping basically got out of the slump the other night against San Jose. So I do like Vancouver here, plus 105. I mean, this is a great price. You're not going to see them home underdogs often if they keep playing this way, but you are because of the caliber of their opponent tonight, the Dallas Stars. But Dallas is at the end of the road trip. Vancouver has owned this team. I mean, 6 straight wins over Dallas. So Canucks plus 105 for me. What do you think here, Alex? Dallas, Vancouver.
Yeah, the first thing I liked was the over, and I wouldn't grab that over 6 minus $1.20. But then I was also leaning toward taking a shot with Dallas. Thankfully, did not put that in. Like I said, just kind of looking back at the series history with Vancouver, and also just to reflect that with Jake Ottinger. His appearances against Vancouver specifically have not been good, even though he's 5-0-1 this year, but he's 0-2-1 with a save percentage below 900 in 3 games against Vancouver. So this is a spot here where I'm staying away from the side. I get Vancouver's playing well enough, but I just don't want to go in front of Dallas necessarily, even at plus 105. If I was getting plus 120, sure, I'd be all over the Canucks here in this spot. But like you said, they're playing better, and this price reflects it. I'm just going to go with this over 6. I think we see goals here both ways, and this should be a very exciting game. Most of the games at the night slate are pretty good. I think this one's going to be close. There's another game that's pretty good too late, but this one might be close to the game of the night.
Yeah, I have to lean with you on the total as well, over. I mean, this is another series history thing. I believe it's 18-7 or something close to that. The last 25 games in Vancouver, Stars versus Canucks to the over. I mean, it's pretty crazy. 6-2 just overall in the last 8 meetings to the over for the Dallas Stars against the Vancouver Canucks. And Dallas has actually gone over in the road trip here, 2 games. Edmonton and Calgary, both of those games went over the total. So, yeah, over 6 for me as well, but even like more than the total, even more than that, I like Vancouver here plus 105. Should be I'm looking forward to that game, as you know.
Yeah.
That is going to be a fun game to watch in the late night hours. Of the 4 late night games, this is the one I'm even more excited about Dallas Vancouver than the next game, and that's a pretty damn good game too. The Colorado Avalanche and the Vegas Golden Knights. That's pretty damn good too, I will say. But I'm just really into Vancouver right now. With the way they're playing.
I get it. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, Colorado Vegas is pretty damn good for late night television as well. We've got Colorado minus 105 or minus 115, I should say, slight road favorites. And the total here in this one, 6 shaded to the over. So I have a distinct plan of attack here. And by the way, Quinn Hughes props, I shouldn't even have to mention them in the Vancouver game, as you know. Shots, goal prop, assist prop, anything you can find, always worth a look. I have a plan of action here, or a strategy here for Vegas. We know they're hosting Colorado tonight. Should be a great game. 2 legit Western Conference and Stanley Cup contenders. No question about that. I think Vegas in this spot, you get their best. It kind of reminds me of Winnipeg the other night. Bruce Cassidy had a great quote, and it resonated. It's kind of why I lean Vegas here. He says, Montreal, we weren't sharp. We weren't our best. We played Winnipeg tonight a lot better. We have a history with them. And I think it got the guys inspired, and we were just a lot sharper. We were on our toes. He used all this lingo to basically say, you know what? We weren't into the Montreal game, but we were a lot more into the Winnipeg game because we faced them in the playoffs last year, and they played great, obviously, against the Jets in that victory last night. And now against Colorado, he's saying the same thing. Like, we know how good they are. We really want to show what we how we can play against them. So when you get Vegas clearly focused, clearly interested in the opponent, clearly interested in the game, and you get them at even money here, like it's plus 100, minus 105 with them on their home ice at T-Mobile Arena, where they're 6-0-1 this season. I ain't going against that. It's just, I'm not. It's just not going to happen. And look, I got to admit, I have more worries about Colorado tonight because we saw them on the road previously. Both of their losses this year were on the road, and they were to Pittsburgh and Buffalo. So to me, that shows you that away from Denver, we have seen some subpar performance from the Colorado Avalanche this season. Now, obviously, they are going to be geared up. This is the Stanley Cup champions that they're facing, so it's not going to be a lack of inspiration for them. But, to me, I just have a little bit more confidence at the moment right now in Vegas in this spot. I don't love it on the Colorado side that, they've got a couple of centers out, depth centers, but they still miss them. There are some injuries for Vegas. Nick Hague is going to be out. Will Carrier is day-to-day. But how many times have we seen it from the Vegas Golden Knights that they've just got so much bloody depth on the blue line, that they can withstand any and all absences, and they can basically plug those holes and still end up finding a way to play well on the back end 1 through 6 and get the job done. And Martinez and Pietrangelo and McNabb and Theodore's playing great right now. Theodore props are probably worth a look. He's been his offensive game has accelerated the last few, but you can put in Caden Korchak, you can put in Ben Hutton, you can put in Braden Pahal in those bottom 2 defense slots for Vegas, and you really don't miss a lot. That shows you how well they have built things on the blue line and on the defense for the Vegas Golden Knights. So should be a great game. I'm very much excited to tune into this one as well. But for me, I'm going to go with Vegas here at minus 105. There's actually minus 102 at Bet Online. There's plus 100 at Bookmaker/Chris. You're just not going to get the Vegas Golden Knights on home ice at that price very often. And I saw enough vulnerability in those 2 road losses for Colorado to the Penguins and the Sabres that, I've got to side with the Vegas Golden Knights here in this game, in what should be hopefully a good one. What do you think here, Alex? The final game of the night, Colorado, Vegas.
Yeah, I like the draw here in this one. I grabbed this yesterday. I got this also at plus 330. And this is, like I said, just going to be a good back and forth battle, I feel like. And yeah, Vegas, like I said, it's the cheapest you're going to find them. But with Colorado, like I said, kind of, they've taken their lumps, had a couple of losses. I think they're going to bring a decent fight here to Vegas. And, like someone saying in the chat, yeah, they lose in overtime. They usually don't lose in regulation. So I think this one goes past 60 minutes, and we can see go back and forth from there. So let's go with the regulation draw, plus 330.
I just looked at my cards in my email because I sent it out already. I'll be posting it on the and we'll be posting the picks. There's not going to be much props today. That's just the way it is because it's going to take me forever to write them up. So I'm only going to post a couple of my I'm going to basically, for the Patreon page and the community tab for the Family Plan YouTube channel members, I'm going to probably post my 5 to 10 best props of the day in the NHL. We'll leave it at that. And of course, my bargain bin prop, which we will get to in just a moment. And then, of course, you'll have the sides and totals, though, in full. Yeah. And same with Alex. But this is actually the other draw that I bet. Colorado, I did bet this draw as well. I just saw in my email, plus 390, I think it was. 370. 370 at FanDuel with Colorado Vegas draw. So it's a split bet for me, Vegas and the draw here with the Avs and the Golden Knights. So I agree. I think this draw is worth a look. I think it's going to be a pretty tight, pretty competitive game, and looking forward to it for sure. All right, great stuff. Didn't I say it? This was going to be rapid fire for a Saturday. Yeah. To get through 15 games in less than an hour is insane, especially with me involved. That's just not usually ever going to happen. But we wanted to go with pace today because actually I got to head out in about 30 minutes from now. So good stuff. We appreciate it. Everyone in the chat, hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. 196 live viewers. Lots to tell you about. Ice Guys Family Plan, $9.99 US per month. Our sides and totals, player props, daily betting card, Alex's live looks, live wagers on the YouTube community tab. for the family plan members as well. All of our content and on the Patreon page as well. So make sure you check both of those out, patreon.com/iceguys and the family plan for $9.99 US per month. And we do have a correction to make from yesterday's show regarding the live betcasts. Dummy scheduled a betcast on a day with no games initially. So I remember yesterday I said Tuesday, November 21st is when we would have our free betcast public available to all. Betcast. No, can't have it that day. There are no games that day, Tuesday, November 21st. It's because it's Thanksgiving week. So all the games are going to be Wednesday instead, the day before Thanksgiving. So we will do the public free-for-all betcast for November the following Tuesday, November the 28th. And I actually looked ahead to that betcast, Tuesday, November 28th. We've got Florida-Toronto, a playoff rematch, Vegas-Edmonton, a playoff rematch. There are some really, really good games that night. So excited to have that betcast now Tuesday, November the 28th. So again, that's Tuesday, November 28th for the free to the public, free for all betcast on Tuesday, November 28th, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then our Ice Guys Family Plan members exclusive betcast will be next Thursday, which we mentioned. That's still the same, Thursday, November 9th. Next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central is when it will begin, and we'll be hanging around for pretty much the early games. So we'll go through all the early games. It'll be about a 3-hour betcast. And then if people, including Alex, because his Bears play that night against the Carolina Panthers, want to see the end of that Thursday night just masterpiece on Thursday night, they have the ability to do that. So next Thursday, November the 9th, we will have our first Ice Guys Family Plan members only betcast, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then the betcast that's available to everyone will be on Tuesday, November 28th. So there you go.
Yeah, good stuff. Also, we got 2 days left in the Ice Guys store for 20% off on everything. That's iceguys.myspreadsshop.com. As Ian mentioned, we will have live looks in the family plan section, the community section in the YouTube, but also check out patreon.com/iceguys. Like I said, we have all of our my goalie charts. Both of our power rankings will be up. I will have articles up in the next week or so. Like I said, having some technical issues still, but I got some things that are already written up that will be posted. So hopefully in the next coming days, I will have some new articles and some revised articles posted. So check that out at patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 more.
All right, good stuff there indeed. All right, we wrap it up as always with Bargain Bin Special of the Night and Best Bets. We start, of course, with Bargain Bin Special of the Night. Last night, obviously, you can't cash a Brandon Biro prop if the team's only going to score one goal. So that was tough. But this one is the obvious choice for me. Like this was going to be, I think, last night it was going to be my Bargain Bin Special of the night. We're going to go to San Jose. Do you know the way to San Jose? We're going to go with EK55. Erik Karlsson, Pittsburgh Penguins, plus 400 to score a goal tonight. That's at Bet365. Erik Karlsson for the Pittsburgh Penguins, plus 400. He actually scored the last game. I think slowly but surely the comfort level, at least offensively for him, is going to start to show here with Pittsburgh. I think it's an absolutely great look. You know he's going to be revved up playing against the former team, the San Jose Sharks, for the first time, going back to San Jose. And San Jose's been awful giving up shots to defensemen. They've been awful giving up points to defensemen. And even worse, they've I think, allowed 7 or 8 goals to defensemen this year, the San Jose Sharks so far. What do we see? We saw Quinn Hughes find the back of the net for Vancouver the other night against San Jose. So Erik Karlsson plus 400 for the Pittsburgh Penguins. That will be my Bargain Bin Special of the night. Alex, what do you got?
Yeah, we're heading over to 1901 West Madison with the Hawks game tonight against the Florida Panthers. But we're going with a member of the opponents tonight. We're going with the Panthers. Carter Verhaeghe moving up to that top line on the power play. We're taking a shot at him to get a power play point at plus 400. So you can go over a half for the power play points, plus 400 with Carter Verhaeghe. This just feels like it could be one of those games where the Hawks, they're going to let up some goals, and they can let some up with the man advantage. So look for Verhaeghe and maybe get a goal and assist there with the man advantage. Plus 400, that's my bargain bin special for today.
That makes a lot of sense, and that's exactly the shit we look for on this show. We look for players moving up the lineup, going to the number one power play unit, and that is Carter Verhaeghe tonight for the Florida Panthers. Power play point, plus 400 for Alex with his bargain bin special of the night for this Saturday card. All right, best bets to wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys show. Alex, we'll start with you. Lots to choose from. What do you like for best bet?
For that game, I'm going to go down the street to the XL Energy Center. We got Minnesota taking on the New York Rangers. Love that first period over 1.5 minus 125. 11-4 the last 15 meetings, including 5 straight first period over cashes here. Jonathan Quick in net, that helps us out just as much as Adam Fox being missing on the blue line. Of course, we know how the defense has been for Minnesota as well. They've been rough, especially early in games. So let's go first period over, Rangers Wild. That's my best bet for Saturday.
All right, there we go. Rangers Wild over 1.5 in the first period. Best bet for Alex B. Smith on this Saturday card. My best bet is, you know what? I really like this look. I really do. And I was already considering it. And then I heard a guy that knows this team well, Jimmy Murphy, on our show yesterday talk about it. And he knows the Bruins well. Just feels like it's a really, really tough spot for Boston. These 2 games against these teams they've got a heated history with, Florida and Toronto, and now they're going to Detroit, a place they've struggled, a Red Wings team that's desperate to snap this little skid they're in. I think they are a live home dog. I think it's a great spot, great price. Go bold. You know, we've lost a couple best bets in a row yesterday and Thursday. Go bold to snap the skid. Detroit, plus 125 against Boston. For my best bet here for this Saturday card. All right, that'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. A great show. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Again, you are the guys that make it possible for us to be able to do this show each and every day. We have nothing without your support, obviously. And again, with the Dono, again, P.O. Degen Stoner. Again, we appreciate it very much. The Ice Guys Drinks and Snacks Fund. Very, very good. We appreciate it very much, my friend. And thank you again for the support. And thank you to everyone for the support. So again, just to recap, the betcast schedule for November, members only, family plan, members only betcast next Thursday, November the 9th, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then the regular monthly public betcast Tuesday, November 28th. At 7 p.m. Eastern time. So looking forward to our 2 betcasts in the month of November. And a reminder, as always, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. Although an addendum to that, Monday's show will obviously be at 3 p.m. Eastern time following my college football show, and then the rest of the week, as usual, at 2 p.m. Eastern. Great show. Hope you enjoyed the rapid fire pace. We'll take our time next week, though, on the Saturday, I promise. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you again tomorrow on Sunday at noon Eastern for another edition of the Ice Guys.